Grouper is a fish with high economic value, often living in coral reefs, coastal waters or areas of the seabed with complex structures. Catching grouper requires fishermen to have experience, professional techniques as well as a good understanding of the biological characteristics of this fish species. One of the popular methods of catching grouper is using bottom trawls or trap nets. Fishermen often choose low tide or early morning to drop the net, because this is when grouper is most active and easily lured into the net. In addition, fishing for grouper with handheld rods or fishing reels is also a method used by many people, especially in areas with rocky reefs where grouper often hides. Bait is usually small fish, live squid or live shrimp to attract grouper, because this is a species that hunts by feeling and smell. A more modern fishing method is to use fish traps, specially designed to lure grouper in and prevent them from escaping. Fishermen often set traps in the evening and collect them early the next morning. To protect aquatic resources, grouper fishing must now comply with regulations on the minimum size allowed for exploitation as well as limit the use of explosives, electric shocks or toxic chemicals. Thanks to proper fishing techniques and environmental protection awareness, natural grouper resources will be maintained sustainably, contributing to the long-term and effective development of the fisheries industry. In addition to the traditional and modern fishing methods mentioned above, many fishermen also combine fishing with grouper farming in cages to ensure stable output all year round. After being caught from the wild, if the grouper is still alive and of good quality, it will be transported to the cages for further care before being sold. This helps to increase the commercial value and prolong the preservation time of the fish during the fishing process. Determining the location where many groupers live is extremely important. Modern ultrasonic fish finding and positioning devices have greatly assisted fishermen, helping them to locate areas with high fish density, thereby saving time and fuel. However, grouper fishing also has many potential difficulties and risks, because the fish often live in areas with complex terrain on the seabed. Dropping and retrieving nets can easily encounter reefs, corals or other obstacles, causing nets to tear or equipment to get stuck. In addition, grouper is a very strong and resilient species, so getting them onto boats requires skill and patience. With the increasing demand for grouper at home and abroad, grouper fishing is becoming an important source of livelihood for many coastal fishermen. However, to develop sustainably, this exploitation industry needs to go hand in hand with measures to protect the marine environment. Restore coral reefs and control reasonable exploitation output to avoid the depletion of this valuable resource. An important factor that cannot be ignored in the process of catching grouper is the preservation after harvest. Grouper is a valuable species, so it requires strict requirements for freshness when brought to market. Immediately after catching, the fish need to be preserved in cold seawater or iced containers to maintain their quality. For live grouper, fishermen must have an aeration system or specialized tanks to transport them to the mainland without shocking or killing the fish. For commercial grouper for export, especially to demanding markets such as Japan, Korea or European countries. The preservation, packaging and transportation process requires even more rigor and professionalism. In addition, many coastal localities also organize grouper fishing teams in the form of cooperatives or fishing groups. Helping to share experiences, reduce costs and improve production efficiency. Some places also combine fishing with experiential tourism, allowing tourists to participate in grouper fishing trips, thereby creating additional income and promoting the image of the homeland's sea. Thanks to the combination of tradition and modernity, exploitation and conservation, grouper fishing not only contributes to improving the lives of fishermen but also affirms the position of the Vietnamese seafood industry in the international market. In the future, with thorough investment in technology, training and support policies from the state, grouper fishing promises to develop even more strongly and sustainably, not only stopping at catching and preserving. Grouper after being brought ashore also goes through preliminary processing and distribution stages to reach consumers. Depending on the purpose of use and the consumer market, grouper can be sold fresh, pre-processed on the spot or brought to seafood processing factories for cleaning, filleting, vacuum packaging or freezing. Grouper processed products not only serve domestic needs but are also potential export items, especially in high-end product lines. Many businesses have taken advantage of the firm, delicious, nutritious fish meat to create ready-made, canned, convenient dishes that suit the tastes of modern consumers. In addition, raising public awareness about protecting grouper resources also plays an important role. Authorities and environmental organizations regularly organize training programs, instructing fishermen not to catch young grouper, not to use ecologically destructive means such as explosives or electricity, and at the same time encourage the regeneration of fish resources by releasing grouper fry into the sea. The models of fishermen protecting the sea or responsible fishing are increasingly being replicated and bringing positive effects. In particular, in the context of climate change and overexploitation affecting marine ecosystems, sustainable fisheries development is a matter of survival for the future of millions of coastal fishermen. Grouper fishing is not only a long-standing traditional occupation, but also a symbol of the connection between humans and the ocean, between hard work and abundant nature, something that needs to be preserved and promoted for future generations. In recent times, many coastal localities have promoted the application of science and technology to support the capture and management of grouper resources, creating a strong transformation for traditional fisheries. Satellite positioning devices, GPS, fish finders, radio communication systems and fishing ground management software equipped on fishing vessels have helped fishermen accurately identify areas with a lot of grouper. thereby improving productivity and reducing time at sea. Not only that, co-management models of fisheries, in which people and authorities coordinate to monitor the exploitation of marine resources, have proven to be effective in protecting the ecosystem and stabilizing livelihoods. In addition, a promising direction today is artificially raising and releasing grouper to regenerate natural resources. Grouper hatcheries with systematic investment and application of modern artificial reproduction technology have helped provide a large amount of high-quality grouper fry for both commercial farming and releasing into the sea. This is a parallel solution that both helps reduce pressure on natural fish resources and systematically expands the scale of marine economic development. It is undeniable that grouper fishing brings stable income and improves the lives of thousands of fishing households. However, such development is only truly sustainable when accompanied by a sense of responsibility in exploiting and protecting marine resources. By harmoniously combining tradition and technology, exploitation and regeneration, grouper fishing is opening up a new direction of development, both economically efficient and environmentally friendly, contributing to building a modern, green and sustainable aquaculture industry for the country. In addition to positive developments, grouper fishing is currently facing many challenges that need to be addressed and resolved promptly. One of the biggest challenges is the impact of climate change on the natural habitat of grouper. Increased sea temperatures, sea level rise, ocean acidification and more frequent strong storms have changed the ecological structure of the seabed, the ideal habitat for grouper. This not only reduces catch but also forces fishermen to move farther from shore. Spending more money and effort on each trip. In addition, overfishing and uncontrolled fishing in some sea areas still occur, leading to a serious decline in natural grouper populations. Some fishermen, for short-term profit, use destructive fishing methods such as electric shock, poison, or catch young grouper, seriously affecting the natural reproduction and recovery of this fish species. Without strict control measures and severe sanctions, this resource is at risk of being depleted in the near future. Therefore, raising awareness and community responsibility, and increasing support from the state, scientific and international organizations are extremely necessary. Policies to support fishermen such as preferential loans, training in sustainable fishing techniques, investing in fishing logistics infrastructure and encouraging fishing models combined with farming and conservation are playing an increasingly important role. In addition, the construction of marine reserves and seasonal fishing ban areas also needs to be expanded and monitored more strictly. In short, grouper fishing is not only an important economic activity but also closely linked to the culture and life of coastal people. To preserve and develop this valuable resource in the long term, we need a comprehensive view, synchronous solutions and the cooperation of the whole society, from the government, fishermen, scientists to consumers, to protect the ocean and the values it brings for today and tomorrow in the future. The grouper fishing industry may enter a new stage of development, with the strong application of high technology and green economic models. Smart devices such as environmental sensors, satellite-based fishing vessel monitoring systems, and artificial intelligence, AI, analyzing oceanographic data are gradually being put into practice. Helping fishermen more accurately forecast fish locations, weather conditions, and ocean current fluctuations. This not only optimizes fishing efficiency but also helps limit negative impacts on the marine environment. At the same time, the trend of digitizing the seafood value chain, from exploitation, processing to consumption, will help trace the origin of products, enhance the reliability and brand of Vietnamese grouper in the international market. On the other hand, the exploitation model combined with marine ecotourism is also expected to create a new direction for this traditional industry. Tourists not only experience the feeling of going out to sea to catch grouper, but also learn more about the lives of fishermen, the process of conservation and sustainable development of aquatic resources. Thereby, community awareness of preserving natural resources will be widely spread. Contributing to the long-term protection of the marine environment, grouper, a fish species that is familiar but has great economic and ecological value, deserves to be respected and exploited responsibly. From the efforts of fishermen day and night at sea, to the participation of authorities at all levels and the social community, all are working together to preserve a traditional profession rich in identity, towards a future where people and the sea coexist in harmony. It is not only the development of an industry, but also a symbol of faith, hope and connection between the present and future generations. When looking to the future of grouper fishing, it is impossible not to mention the combination of science and protection of marine heritage. Ecological and biotechnological research will play an increasingly important role in the restoration and development of wild grouper stocks. Experimental breeding of grouper in hatcheries, especially with hybridization and genetic technology, can help improve the productivity and quality of the breed, while minimizing the decline of wild resources. The application of new technological solutions such as grouper farming in a controlled environment, ensuring healthy fish growth without overexploitation from the wild, is gradually becoming a trend in the modern aquaculture industry. In addition to efficient exploitation of resources, the responsibility to protect and restore the marine environment needs to be more focused than ever. Coral reefs, grouper spawning areas and other resource-rich marine areas all need to be protected under the supervision of conservation organizations and local authorities. The establishment of marine reserves, which stop fishing during the spawning season, will not only help groupers maintain and develop, but also protect the marine ecosystem. Creating a favorable environment for many other seafood species to develop. In addition, strategies for propaganda and community education on marine resource protection are also very necessary. Propaganda activities, marine protection programs, Even competitions and communication campaigns can raise awareness and help people better understand the value of groupers, as well as the importance of protecting the sea and marine resources in the long term. Along with that, the participation of international organizations, seafood businesses and the community will be an important factor in helping the seafood industry develop in a sustainable direction. Grouper fishing is not only a job for making a living, but also an indispensable part of the culture and tradition of coastal fishermen. Therefore, for this profession to develop sustainably, it requires a synchronous coordination between solutions to protect resources. Develop science and technology and build community awareness. At that time, grouper will continue to be a valuable resource, not only meeting domestic consumption needs but also opening up strong export opportunities for the Vietnamese seafood industry, contributing to the prosperity of this profession in the future. One of the important factors that helps the grouper fishing industry develop sustainably is the application of strict and synchronous management policies from the state. The government needs to continue to develop and enforce regulations on exploitation control, marine environmental protection, ensuring that grouper fishing activities are carried out in the right season, avoiding overfishing and protecting important spawning areas. Control measures such as releasing fish fry, limiting fishing during spawning time, or regulations on the minimum size of grouper when fishing need to be strictly monitored and implemented. Implementing these policies not only protects grouper resources but also helps create a favorable environment for the sustainable development of the fishing industry. In addition, it is also important to encourage the participation of community organizations and non-governmental organizations in the protection of marine resources. These organizations can work with fishermen to monitor fishing, provide technical support and provide information on sustainable fishing methods. They can also organize training programs and workshops to help fishermen better understand methods of conservation and protection of marine resources. In this way, fishermen will not only benefit economically but also participate in the protection of natural resources and build a sustainable fishing community. It is impossible not to mention the change in people's consumption habits. In the current trend, consumers increasingly pay attention to products with clear origins. Ensuring quality and food safety. Increasing traceability and certification of grouper products will not only help build consumer trust but also be a decisive factor in increasing the value of products in the international market. Certifications such as Global GAP, Good Agricultural Practice, or MSC, Marine Stewardship Council, can open up great export opportunities for Vietnamese grouper, especially to demanding markets such as Europe, North America or Japan. With the combination of policy solutions, technology, community education and the participation of environmental protection organizations, the grouper fishery can continue to develop strongly and sustainably. Grouper fishing is not only a source of income for fishermen but also contributes to the development of the marine economy, protecting biodiversity and preserving marine heritage for future generations.